Are you creating guilt in your child? Hello everyone, welcome to Signposts for Living with Dr. Kirsten Hunter. We are here with gorgeous Kristen Coggan. Hello darling.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. I feel like I'm on the back foot with this topic.
Do you?
Yes.
That's not
all
a
up
place
to
that
you.
you're often in.
It's all up to you, this
Really?
one.
Jesus. Brace yourselves, people.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Okay. So I find the emotion of guilt to be fascinating.
Right.
Truly fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
So I have, oh my gosh, where to start? I have all of these parents who accidentally, I'm hearing music, can you hear music? My brain. Who accidentally are creating guilt in their child.
Right.
And so
you've got me worried now that I am too.
And I know this because the kids come and see me and they're just, I can't do that because, then, instead of them just being a kid who is making good choices or bad choices in their life, if they misbehave, it's about a mum and dad's emotional state when, with how distressed they'll be with what choices they're making, rather than just because they're a kid that's inevitably going to make right or wrong choices. Mm-hmm. And that's because, and I get into it, and that's because when the parent is sort of saying, oh, look at how you've made me feel, when the kid's just been a kid.
Okay.
Kids are going to make mistakes. Kids are not supposed to get it all right? No. So we peel it back, and the parent is saying, oh, you've upset mummy so much, when the kid's just been a kid. Yeah. Now I've got a migraine, now I have to go to my bed, or am I not doing a good enough job as a parent, or is this because of me as a parent, or...
What about when I say, you are driving me nuts?
No, that's not as layered. Okay. That's not as layered. But, and so the kid's kind of there, and then they're kind of reverse parenting. They're making good choices because of the parent's mental health, and they're needing to be more perfect than kids should be. Mm-hmm. So I'm not talking about if a teenager is extremely obnoxious and rude and, offensive to the parent, and then fair enough, it is about the parent, and the parent is offended and hurt, and the teenager needs to learn to be mindful of that person and not to do harm. I'm not talking about that.
Right.
I'm talking about just normal kid muck-ups and the parent making it about them.
Yep.
And basically, when the parent does that, they don't know they're doing it. They actually are manipulating the child to emotionally feel this incredible burden and feel guilty for being a kid. And it's a fascinating thing. Mm. And then when I talk with the parents, I find out that the parents live and breathe guilt. They feel guilty about this, they feel guilty about that. And then I go back further, and that's what's happened in their childhood.
I was going to say, is that like a repetition? Is it
rinse and repeat? Yep. And it's fascinating when we pull it all back, and I kind of put it on the table, and everyone looks at it, and they say, well, I don't want to do that, but it's just like a habit. I just do this. And so it's a weird topic. We don't talk about this one.
It's quite getting your head around it, but it does make sense.
Can I say, with lots of love, I hope my mum doesn't listen to this one. My grandmother did this to my mum, well and truly, because my grandmother was a master of kind of making people do what she wanted them to do. Mm-hmm. And my beautiful mum would play the victim a bit when I would not make great choices as a teenager. Mm-hmm. And I was a really, really good kid. I was, oh my gosh, I want 10 of what I was. And that's bad. Kids should be able to misbehave. Kids should be able to be a bit self-focused, So it's not good how good I was. So that was a bad sign. But my mum, she used to do what I could see. Before I was a psych, I could read it already. I could see that she just had this sort of knee-jerk reaction of kind of guilting me for being a pretty good teenager and making a few mistakes. And I could see it in what she was doing, and it never worked because I could see it. Yep. Never worked. But this is what's fascinating. Now, fast forward, here I am, third generation.
Yes.
And with my kids. And I actually hear the dialogue in my head of what I could do to manipulate them to feel guilty to not make their choice. Typical, my kids are good, so it's typical kid behaviour. And I actually hear it, and I go, whoa.
You've got to make that decision.
Yeah, don't put my stuff on them. Don't manipulate them. Don't guilt them into making a more perfect choice. And, hey, I started by saying I wouldn't know much about this. I think I'm doing all right. So, you know...
Turns out you do.
Yeah, there you go. So, you know, and I catch myself and I've stopped this generational cycle. But it's fascinating. It really is fascinating how often, and maybe I can pick it up with other people because I know it.
Possibly, yeah. And I'm assuming others listening to us, I'm sitting here now trying to analyse what I do and what I say and how I go about it. And
did I do this?
Yeah, because I'm quite often thinking, you little bastards, you need to... If only you knew how that bloody affected me or made me feel. So I don't openly do it. Maybe I do. Maybe they get that. I don't know.
It's really interesting.
Weird, isn't it?
And then if we look broader, a lot of people, when they're needing to be assertive or, you know, advocate for their needs, they feel really guilty, you know, or when they're not doing what other people want them to do when it's not good by them, they feel really guilty. And, you know, when they're not taking responsibility for other people, they feel really guilty. And, I mean, I have to say there's a disproportionate amount of them that I've asked, and they've been Catholic.
Really?
Yes. Now, I'm not Catholic. I don't understand Catholicism a lot, but I kid you not. And then they say to me, oh, it's my Catholic guilt, and you're going to hate it. I'm going to say the word. I go, oh, that's
cliche.
That's cliche. And they say, no, it's not. And so I went and spent some time researching this.
Yes.
Of course. And, apparently it's a thing. Apparently it's something to do with indoctrination with regard to, I don't know, I don't understand it. Do you know anything about that?
Not really. I'm not going to say I'm an expert. And I'm not a Catholic, but I did go to Catholic school.
Well, then you'd have more of a shoe-in than me.
My kids went to and do go to Catholic school. So it resonates what you're saying.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
I feel like there's this thing out there that everyone in that world knows, and I don't know. It's fascinating.
Yeah. I always felt guilty, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
For what?
Just never doing enough.
Where did that come from?
Probably Catholic school? No, I don't know. Sorry, anyone out there that's at Catholic school. I'm not blaming anyone. But it is, you're never doing enough. Yeah, you never quite got there. You'd never... Yeah.
But what message did you hear to get that sort of inner dialogue?
I guess it's the expectation that you should be, whatever you're doing, whatever it is, whether it's, you know, you were studying, playing sport, spending time with your friends or whatever, you should be doing it 100% right and giving it all 100% effort all the time. And you're probably never going to do that because that's very hard to do. So you're getting told you should be doing it, but you probably won't be able to do it.
That's a lot of
pressure.
pressure.
I making sense?
You are. It's like a perfectionism kind of framework. Fascinating.
So in your head, you're thinking, probably never doing it the way you should be doing it, 100%, so you start feeling a bit guilty.
You know, I went to a school called John Paul College. You'd think it's Catholic, right?
You would?
It's not. It's ecumenical, which means lots of religions. And so I figured out towards the end that if I said that I was Buddhist, then I got to go to the library.
You've told me this story. Yes.
It's a good one, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I never got any of that Catholicism at that school.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
So there you go.
If anyone wants to write in and educate me about
don't hate us because we've just been a little bit negative.
Well, no, it's an open question.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this? What is this guilt? I don't get it. I don't subscribe to it. So I know that I don't know, but I know that there's this thing out there, and I know that it's having a ripple effect with our children and with our parenting. And I can see it on a clinical level, but I don't understand it on a cultural level. And I'm not going to pretend that I do. So I'm truly fascinated. If I was to do another PhD, I reckon I'd pick this topic because I think it's fascinating.
Why don't you? Because you are never doing enough, and I think that...
don't think I will. But yeah, there you go. No, seriously, I'm really interested. If anyone wants to write in about what this is, what is this guilt thing that people feel, and you've sort of talked about it there. Basically, can I say from a clinical perspective though, that is complete BS, because if this concept of having to do your best, that's not looking at whether the task is something. You've got to have a rating scale of how much of a priority and how urgent it is, and therefore how much effort and how many resources you put in.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I've only worked that out as I've gotten older.
There you go.
And I have felt very guilty and a lot of my life, because no matter what I'm doing, in my mind I was never doing enough.
Really?
Isn't that weird? I see now. I need a session.
You always felt like you had to give 100%. Why?
Because that's what you do in life.
Why?
Because you won't be successful if you don't.
That's not true, though.
I know it's not true, but that's what I would have thought.
Prioritise their time and their resources, don't they?
That's the way I would have thought.
Is it because if you are not giving 100%, you are being slothful, and slothful is a sin, and you will go to hell?
Possibly.
I bet you there's something like
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though I don't mind being referred to sloth-like, because they're so cute. And I reckon they've got life nailed.
Oh,
they know what they want. They just do it slowly. They get there.
There you go. One of my favourite things to read about is sloth facts. They're fascinating animals.
They are.
Over the dining table,
fascinating.
we talk about them all the time. Did you know that?
They are amazing.
So
my dad...
Write in about sloth facts too, people.
If he's listening to this, he'll know it's a joke. So people don't think my dad was terrible. But he used to call me a sloth as a joke.
Yeah.
Because I was slow and lazy and, like sitting still in the one spot, which is okay.
Yeah.
And he would joke and say, you're a sloth.
Yeah.
But meant it cute, like cute sloth. And so I've always felt a kinship with the sloth.
Do you know...
I could be part sloth.
My mother's father, who was a perfectionist, one time we were out in good old Cunnamulla, picture that, and he was wanting me to do something, and I traded the job with my cousin because I'd rather do his job and he'd rather do my job. And he came after me and he kind of said to me, he didn't kind of say, he got really angry, and he said, you're lazy. And my response was, no, I'm intelligent.
See, this is why we're two different people, and I need to soak you up.
It didn't go well.
See, this is why you are who you are. You're amazing. You get all this stuff done because you have always had that insight.
Prioritising. No. You only sprint. You only give 100% when you've got a gun to your head, and it truly, truly matters. Otherwise, you pace yourself based on what's important, and
What? You could have told me that 14 years ago, and I would have had a whole different outlook.
Oh, wow. So there you go.
When we first met, that would have been great to have got that one off the rank.
Yeah, well, you've got there now.
Yeah,
That's
right.
good. That's good. Well, this whole guilt thing obviously is connected with perfectionism. It's obviously connected with some sort of sense of whether you're a good person or not.
Yeah.
And there's these inner workings, and I don't understand them, but seriously, people, write in and educate me if anyone knows.
You've got my brain thinking now too, because it's... So when I was little...
Yeah.
And I spent lots of time with my nan, and she would... So we were Anglican and Christian, and I spent a lot of time at church and Sunday school, and she would volunteer at the church and stuff. So I spent a lot of time around church, and I was convinced from a very early age I had to be good at everything so that I wouldn't go to hell.
Really?
Yes. Now that you're making me think about it...
Christianity's kind of like a get out of jail free card. You know, it's called forgiveness. Like, what? How do you?
But that was my perception. That was my perception.
Yeah. Well, that was wrong.
And I do remember being little, thinking if I do that, whatever it was, like steal that kid's lolly or whatever I was going to do, I will be going to hell, and so I won't do it.
Really?
Isn't that weird? See, now I'm only just working out that I'm a little bit strange there.
There you go. Well, join the club. We're all very strange, and how boring if we weren't.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, no, there you go. Well, I'm going to have to keep reading on this one.
You might have to do that PhD.
No. Thank you, everyone. Seriously, please write in if you understand what this whole guilt concept is. And
we need help.
Me. We do. We know. Thank you. Go for it, darling.
Right, so... You've been listening to Signpost for Living with Dr. Kristen Hunter, and her YouTube channel is Psych in Your Car. Now, at this point, I normally say you can find her on Twitter, but you can't. Don't go there.
Yeah, we're stepping away from Twitter.
TikTok, Dr. Kristen Hunter. Instagram, Kirsten Hunter Author, Facebook Kirsten Hunter Author, and her webpage is kirstenhunterauthor.com.
Where you can find everything.
Where you can find everything.
There you go.
I haven't mentioned your books lately. I'll have to do that one day.
Oh, well, this is called Signpost for Living because there's books called Signpost
Yeah,
for
there you go.
Living.
There's 6 of them.
Yep, they're good.
Google it.
Bye.
Bye.